Inventory keeps piling up, and the share of price reductions on a national level just increased to a 5-year high during the same time frame, which is the end of May. I have a lot to share in today's video based on my own analysis of Realtor.com's latest data. Hope you guys get a lot of value out of today's video, and of course, if you do, please hit the like button. Also, consider subscribing as well. I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can be more informed and you guys have more tools and knowledge about whether you should be buying or selling a house right now. In any case, this video is based on this weekly update from Realtor.com, just posted 1 week ago. And just like my previous videos, I did not even read it. However, I will provide a link in the video description below. So let me know if my own analysis agrees with their own analysis. So instead, go to realtor.com/research/data. Click on that link right there. And this more or less takes you to this information regarding asking prices, housing inventory, the number of new listings, days in the market, and also price reductions, the year-over-year changes, but also going to be sharing some trends from altosresearch.com as well. In any case, let's get a little bit nerdy here. Speaking of getting nerdy, this is for the week ended May 18th, just posted a few days ago. So let's talk about asking prices. So the median list price grew by 0.6%. There hasn't been a lot of movement regarding asking prices, at least compared to 1 year ago, for the past several months now. And in fact, asking prices have been relatively flat ever since February this year, in my personal opinion, due to rising inventory levels and elevated mortgage rates. I have a lot of news to share regarding that. And let's just talk about inventory right now. So inventory grew by 35.5% from the same week of 2023. That in fact was the biggest year-over-year increase since April of 2023. It has been increasing virtually every week for quite some time as well. There's been more houses for sale this year compared to last year this time for the past 28 consecutive weeks. So inventory has been rising year over year ever since mid-November last year. This, of course, is good news for home buyers. You want to see inventory rising to give you more options to choose from, which, of course, in general, limits bidding wars across the United States. But of course, every real estate market's different. Also, a rise of inventory levels tends to limit home price gains. So let me just give you a quick example. I'm just kind of going off this top of my head. But back in the spring months of 2022, back when our housing market was absolutely insane, I have never seen anything like that. I've been an agent in Sacramento for about 11 years now. But back then we had more or less record low inventory levels. And that was because of every house being listed for sale got sold very, very quickly. This year, much different. Inventory has been rising and up by 35.5% year over year. And going back to 2022, because we had record low inventory levels, that put upward pressure on prices big time. That's why we had all-time record highs back in June of 2022. This year, we do have record highs according to Redfin and other data sources, but the dynamics from 2 years ago compared to this year, night and day difference. Let's talk a little bit more regarding inventory levels because I have a lot to share because I don't want to just share year-over-year changes. What I'm focused on, which I've been telling you guys for quite some time now, is the rate of momentum of gains. In other words, the year-to-date increases so far this year, inventory gains compared to January, how that compares to years past, especially compared to pre-pandemic levels. In any case, looking at the year-over-year change though, this year, for the week ended May 24th, we have approximately 595,000 existing houses for sale, according to Altos Research. That excludes brand new home construction and also excludes multifamily units. So just under 600,000 homes for sale. 1 year ago, approximately 434,000. That means that inventory has increased by 37% from 12 months ago. I've been making this video for you guys for a couple of years now. The gains of inventory also have been increasing as well, or gaining momentum as well. About 2 or 3 months ago, the gains was around 20%. Now we're up by 37%. Now here's something I found to be really interesting as well, because what happened this year compared to 2023 regarding inventory, completely different. So based on the week ended May 24th this year, there's 96,000 more houses for sale compared to the start this year. So therefore, inventory has increased by 19% year to date so far. At this time last year, though, it was down 8%. So this year up 19% compared to January 1st. Last year down by 8% during the same time frame. In other words, supply was down from January through May last year, but this year it's actually increasing. Also, it's rising much faster compared to pre-pandemic levels. So at this time back in January through April of 2017 through 2019, each of those years, the average was a gain of 4%. Whereas this year so far, inventory has increased by 10%. And by the way, sometime this week, I'll have an update from you guys from Realtor.com, and I'll update my numbers regarding the changes of inventory compared to January through May once they post May's numbers. Because again, we're seeing inventory increasing much faster this year compared to pre-COVID levels. So we'll have to see if that continues. In any case, speaking of pre-COVID levels, regarding inventory levels this May compared to May of 2019, we're still up by 36%. So we have a long ways to go in order to see inventory rising to the levels we saw back in 2019. Okay, let's change gears a little bit and talk about some of the reasons why inventory has been on the rise. And one of the reasons is due to decreasing home buying demand. We're seeing less pending home sales, less closed home sales, but new listings have been on the rise as well. So new listings increased by 8.1% year over year, but active listing inventory, or the number of houses for sale, rose by 35.5%. So this is actually something different compared to what we saw back in March this year. So excluding the Easter holiday week, new listings have been higher compared to the same time frame last year for the past 30 consecutive weeks. This, of course, is one of the main reasons why inventory has been on the rise. However, the gains are losing momentum though, because over the past several weeks, we have been only seeing gains of less than 10% year over year. Compare that to March this year, we saw gains in the range of 15 to 18%. This is also much different compared to a year ago, because back in May of 2022 compared to May of 2023, new listings rose by around 20%. Now we're up by 8.1% last week. Okay, let's talk about days in the market. This is a lagging indication of our US housing market though, because this is based on a closed home sale. So in any case, looking at the week ended May 18th this year, houses on average sold 1 day faster compared to 12 months ago. There also has not been a lot of changes regarding the changes of days in the market for quite some time. Days in the market has been in the range of 1 day faster selling to 1 day slower for about 2 months now. All right, let's also talk about the number of price drops, because that increased by 51.4%. So approximately 51% more price reductions this week, or the week of May 18th, compared to 12 months ago. On top of that, the number of price drops has been higher this year compared to last year for 17 straight weeks. This is likely from a significant rise in the number of houses for sale, in my personal opinion. So let's have a look at the share of price drops. So that's the number of price drops. Let's have a look at the share though. The share of price drops, according to Altos Research.com, is at 35%. So approximately 1/3 of all houses for sale have reduced their asking price. That's a share of price drops at approximately 35%. This also is at least a 5-year high during the same time frame, because at 35%, this is higher than last year at this time, 30%, 2022, 23%, 2021, 17%, the end of May of 2020 at 24%, and in early June of 2019, approximately 32%. One more thing I do want to mention regarding the share of price drops is that the share right now at approximately 35% is not too much lower compared to the peak last year. The peak last year was around mid-November at 39%. So the share of price drops has some seasonality, where the share tends to peak during the winter months, and then the low point tends to be in the early parts of the year. So for example, the trough of 2022 was back in March, 21 was back in April and March, and this year the trough was around mid-February. I'm only mentioning this because we're right in the heart of spring home buying season, yet the price reductions is at relatively high levels for this time frame. And because of that, and also due to rising inventory levels, that should limit home price growth in the near term. Okay, that was a lot of information. So let's go over a summary, and I'll provide kind of a summary regarding what happened in our housing market over the past week or so. So number one, asking prices on a national level have been relatively flat since February this year. This is likely due to a significant rise to housing inventory and more price reductions, and of course, 7% mortgage rates. Number two, housing inventory increased by about 36% year over year. That was the biggest increase since April of 2023. This is likely from lackluster home sales, and new listings have been increasing since last November. However, even though the number of new listings has been on the rise, we still have approximately 36% fewer houses for sale right now compared to the same time frame of 2019. Number three, average 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates have decreased by about 90 basis points or 0.9 percentage points, down from the 8% rates we saw in October last year, down to the approximately 7.2% rates we're seeing today. But because 78% of homeowners who have a mortgage are locked into an interest rate below 5%. That's based on data from Freddie Mac through January of 2024. So because approximately 80% of homeowners who do have a loan on their house have a rate below 5%, that has been limiting the amount of houses being listed for sale, and thus keeping inventory levels well below 2019's levels. A friendly reminder, we do not need to see inventory rise to pre-COVID levels in order to see prices decrease. That's exactly what happened in 2022. Inventory levels was far less than 2018 and 2019, yet prices still decrease. Let's watch the rate of increase to inventory levels in the coming months. Now, speaking of my stat regarding 80% of homeowners have a rate below 5%, here's that article, and I'll provide a link in the video description below. So based on their analysis, and their analysis goes through January of 2024, 29% of homeowners, again, who have a loan on a house, have a rate below 3%. 33% have a rate in the range of 3 to 4%. 16% have a rate in the range of 4 to 5%. So 78% of homeowners who have a loan on their house have a rate below 5%, with the vast majority of those in the range of 3 to 4%, way lower compared to the 7.2%, 7% rates we're seeing today. Going back to my summary here, number four, the share of price reductions is at least a 5-year high during the same time frame, but of course it's well below the peak of 2022. But again, the share of price drops is seasonal. It tends to peak in the winter months. And here we are in the heart of the spring home buying season, and we're very close to the peak we saw last year. In any case, that's going to be an interesting trend to follow in the weeks ahead. Number five, last week, houses on average sold 1 day faster compared to a year ago. Again, that's a lagging indication of our housing market. So what are some potential huge changes ahead? And of course, I am not a real estate market fortune teller. Number one, average 30-year fixed rates are below October 2023's peak at 8%, but housing affordability is near or at all-time record lows, very close to all-time record lows, despite the fact that we have rates far below the rates we saw back in October. This is, in my opinion, we have a lack of housing affordability due to the increase in prices more than anything else. Please leave me a comment below your thoughts regarding that. Number two, housing affordability is a huge challenge for home buyers, especially compared to the past several years. We've seen rates more than double, and of course, home prices increased by around 40% from 2019. Number 3, the housing market has been ever changing, and this year is no exception, making it challenging yet kind of fun to kind of talk about our housing market. The most recent trends we have from the MBA regarding application numbers, these are people who are applying for a mortgage to purchase a house. That decreased by 11%. That was for the week ended May 17th. That's from the MBA. Also, the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, reported that pending home sales this March were flat compared to March of 2023 and remains very close to all-time record lows. In stark contrast, new home construction sales, a measure of signed contracts between builders and home buyers, actually increased by 8% during the same time frame. I'll update my numbers regarding that this week because I believe that NAR is going to report pending home sales for the month of April. And I made a video several days ago regarding new home construction sales in April compared to March, but also compared to 1 year ago. And both those metrics actually decrease. So we're seeing a new development here where we have inventory levels absolutely skyrocketing for new home construction houses, but we're not seeing the gains of sales like we did to start this year. So once NAR releases April's numbers regarding pending home sales, I'll update my numbers in this paragraph. Number 4, the direction of our U.S. housing market will depend on unemployment, mortgage rates, and the rate of change to inventory levels, and of course, the balance between supply and demand. Number 5, of course, this is the most important one. If you guys are still watching today's video, then here's a virtual high five for you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. But yeah, I've been making these videos for you guys for 4 years, ever since October 2019, when I started the channel talking about neighborhood tours, the pros and cons about living in Sacramento, and now it's become more of like a national housing news channel. It's a lot of work, but I really enjoy making these videos for you guys. So if you guys are still watching today's video, please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. If you guys want a real estate agent referral, check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. All the links are in my video description below. Anyways, hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you in the next video. I appreciate you.